The breaking point. The gala night disaster. The crystal chandeliers sparkled like frozen stars above my head. I stood in the grand ballroom of the Fairmont Hotel, wearing a midnight blue silk gown that Marcus had his assistant pick out for me. Everything was perfect on the surface. The champagne flowed freely. The string quartet played soft melodies. San Francisco's elite mingled around us, their laughter echoing off the marble walls. But I felt hollow inside. "Sophia, darling, you look absolutely stunning tonight." Mrs. Chun, the wife of Marcus's business partner, touched my arm gently. Her diamond bracelet caught the light, probably worth more than most people's houses. "Thank you." I smiled automatically. I had perfected this smile over the past 4 years of marriage. Warm, but not too friendly. Elegant, but not cold. The perfect tech billionaire's wife smile. Marcus stood across the room, surrounded by investors and reporters. His dark suit fit him perfectly. His handsome face showed confidence and power. He was talking about his latest startup acquisition, his hands moving as he spoke. He hadn't looked at me once in the past hour. Tonight was supposed to be special. It was our 4th wedding anniversary. Marcus had promised me weeks ago that after the gala, we would slip away to our favorite restaurant on the pier. Just the two of us. No phones. No business talk. Just us, like we used to be before his company went public and swallowed our entire life. I checked my phone. Almost 9 o'clock. The gala would end at 10. Then we could finally be alone. "Your husband is truly remarkable," Mrs. Chen continued. "The way he turned Tech Vision into a billion-dollar company in just 5 years. You must be so proud." "Yes," I said softly. "Very proud." What I didn't say was that I barely knew this version of Marcus anymore. The man I married had been passionate and warm. He used to wake me up with coffee and terrible jokes. He used to dance with me in our tiny apartment kitchen. Now he woke up checking stock prices and fell asleep answering emails. The emergency call. Marcus finally walked over to me, his phone in his hand as always. His cologne smelled expensive and unfamiliar. I missed the cheap drugstore aftershave he used to wear when we were in college. "Ready to leave soon?" I asked hopefully. "Our reservation is at 10:30. He glanced at his watch, then at me. For a moment, I saw something in his eyes. Guilt? Regret? But it vanished quickly. "Yes, absolutely. Just need to finish talking to the investors from Singapore. Give me 20 minutes. 20 minutes in Marcus's world could mean 2 hours. But I nodded anyway. "Okay." He squeezed my hand briefly, then his phone buzzed. His entire body tensed. I watched his face change as he read the screen. His jaw tightened. His eyes widened slightly. "Everything okay?" I asked. I have to take this call." He was already walking toward the exit, the phone pressed to his ear. I stood alone in the middle of the ballroom, holding my champagne glass like a shield. People drifted past me, their conversations washing over me like waves. I felt invisible. After 10 minutes, I followed Marcus outside. The San Francisco night air was cold. I found Marcus standing by the valet station, his back to me, his voice low and urgent. "Rebecca, calm down. Please, just breathe. Tell me where you are." Rebecca. That name hit me like ice water. Rebecca Montgomery. Marcus's ex-girlfriend from college. The brilliant artist who broke his heart when she left to study in Paris 7 years ago. The woman whose name Marcus used to murmur in his sleep during our first year of marriage. I stepped closer, my heels clicking on the pavement. Marcus turned, saw me, and his expression shifted. "I'll call you back," he said quickly into the phone. "Who was that?" I asked, though I already knew. "Rebecca." He ran his hand through his hair, messing up his perfectly styled look. She's having a crisis. She sounds really bad, Sophia. I think she might hurt herself." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "She's been struggling since she came back to the States last month. Her art show failed. She lost her gallery contract. She just called me crying, saying she can't take it anymore." His eyes were filled with worry. "Not for me. For her." "Marcus, it's our anniversary." I know, and I'm sorry, but this is serious. She has nobody else here. Her family is in New York. I'm the only person she knows in San Francisco. Left behind in the rain." The first drops of rain began to fall. Light at first, then heavier. I could feel the cold water soaking through my expensive gown, but I didn't move. "So what are you saying?" My voice sounded strange. Too calm. Too quiet. "I need to go check on her. Just for an hour. Make sure she's okay. Then I'll meet you at the restaurant. I promise. Marcus. I looked directly into his eyes. Please don't do this. Not tonight. He was already signaling for the valet to bring his car. Sophia, be reasonable. This is a matter of life and death. Rebecca is fragile. She needs help. And I need my husband. The words hung in the air between us. Marcus's Tesla pulled up, sleek and black. The valet held the door open. I'll be fast, Marcus said, kissing my forehead quickly. Take my credit card and go to the restaurant. Order whatever you want. I'll be there before the appetizers arrive. He pressed his black card into my hand, then slid into the driver's seat. The door closed. The engine made no sound, but I felt it in my chest. He looked at me through the window one last time. I'm sorry, he mouthed. Then he drove away. The rain came down harder now. Other guests were leaving the gala, rushing to their cars under umbrellas. Couples walked together, holding hands, laughing. I stood alone on the sidewalk, Marcus's credit card in my hand, my designer gown getting ruined by the rain. A valet approached me with an umbrella. Mrs. Walker? Would you like me to call you a car? No, I heard myself say. I'll walk. But ma'am, it's pouring. I said I'll walk. I turned and started walking down the street. I didn't know where I was going. My heels splashed through puddles. My carefully styled hair fell around my face in wet strands. Mascara probably ran down my cheeks, but I didn't care anymore. I walked for blocks, past the fancy restaurants where other couples were having anniversary dinners, past the boutiques where I used to shop to fill the emptiness, past the park where Marcus proposed to me on a sunny Sunday morning 4 years ago. He had been so different then, so present, so in love with me. When did I become second place? When did I become something he could leave behind for a phone call? The decision. I found myself at a bus stop, shivering. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. With Rebecca now? She's calming down. Be there soon. Love you. Love you. 2 words that used to mean everything. Now they felt empty. Automatic. Like signing off an email. I opened my banking app. Our joint account showed millions of dollars. Money Marcus made. Money that bought everything except his time, his attention, his heart. Then I opened my personal account. The one I had kept from before we got married. I hadn't touched it in years. It had $17,000 in it. Money I saved from my photography business before I gave it up to be Marcus's wife. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I made a decision right there, soaking wet at a bus stop at 9:30 on my 4th wedding anniversary. I opened the airline app and searched for flights. There was a red-eye to Portland, Oregon leaving at midnight. From there, I could take a bus to Seaside, where my Aunt Julia lived in her cottage by the ocean. I clicked book now. Then I texted Marcus back. Don't bother coming to the restaurant. I'm not going. 3 dots appeared immediately. He was typing. I turned off my phone before I could see his reply. A taxi stopped at the red light near me. I waved it down. Where to? The driver asked. San Francisco International Airport, I said. As fast as you can. Marcus returns home. Marcus stood in the doorway of our penthouse apartment at 2 in the morning. The lights were all off. He called out my name, but only silence answered. He walked through each room, turning on lights. The bedroom was empty. My side of the closet was partially empty too. My favorite sweaters were gone. My comfortable jeans. My sneakers. All the clothes I actually loved, not the designer pieces his stylist picked out. His heart started racing. He pulled out his phone and called me. It went straight to voicemail. Sophia, where are you? I'm home. I'm so sorry I'm late. Rebecca had taken pills. I had to get her to the hospital. It took longer than I thought. Please call me back. I'm worried. He called again. Voicemail again. He checked the bathroom. My toothbrush was gone. My face wash. My hairbrush. This wasn't just spending the night somewhere. This was leaving. Panic set in. He called our doorman. James, did my wife leave tonight? Did you see her? Yes, Mr. Walker. Around 10:30. She had a small suitcase. She looked upset. I asked if she needed help, but she said she was fine. She took an Uber. Marcus sat down heavily on the couch. The same couch where we used to watch movies together. Where I used to fall asleep with my head on his shoulder. Where we used to talk about our dreams and plans. When did he stop watching movies with me? When did he stop listening to my dreams? He went to his laptop and opened our shared accounts. The credit card he gave me tonight hadn't been used. But he could see I had booked a flight. To Portland. Aunt Julia. He remembered her from our wedding. A kind woman with silver hair who lived by the ocean. A woman who gave him a long look when he promised to make me happy forever. He grabbed his phone and started making calls. First to his pilot, then to his assistant, then to his private investigator. I need you to find my wife, he said. I need her address in Oregon. I need to know where she is staying. And I need it by morning. He looked at the black credit card sitting on the kitchen counter, the one I had left behind. Next to it was my wedding ring, the 5-carat diamond he had been so proud to give me. For the first time in years, Marcus Walker felt truly afraid. A new beginning. I woke up to the sound of seagulls and crashing waves. For a moment, I didn't remember where I was. Then it all came back. The flight. The bus ride. Arriving at Aunt Julia's cottage at dawn. She had opened the door in her bathrobe, taken one look at my tear-stained face, and pulled me into her arms without asking a single question. Now sunlight streamed through white curtains. I could smell coffee and something baking. I got out of bed and walked to the window. The Oregon coast stretched before me. Gray-blue water met gray-blue sky. The beach was empty except for a few people walking their dogs. Everything felt peaceful, quiet, real. I pulled on my comfortable jeans and an old sweater. No makeup, no styling, just me. In the kitchen, Aunt Julia was making blueberry muffins. She looked up and smiled. Good morning, sweetheart. How did you sleep? Better than I have in years, I admitted. She poured me coffee in a simple ceramic mug. Not fine china, not designer cups, just a mug with a painted lighthouse on it. Do you want to talk about it? She asked gently. I sat at her small wooden table and wrapped my hands around the warm mug. He left me standing in the rain. On our anniversary, to go save his ex-girlfriend. Aunt Julia sat across from me. She didn't look surprised. And I realized I've been second choice for a very long time. Maybe I always was. So you left. I left. She reached across and squeezed my hand. Good girl. My phone had been off since last night. I turned it on now. Immediately, it exploded with notifications. Missed calls, voicemails, text messages, all from Marcus. I didn't read any of them. Instead, I opened my contacts and blocked his number. Then I put the phone away and took a bite of warm muffin. What are you going to do now? Aunt Julia asked. I looked out at the ocean. Somewhere in my luggage was my old camera. The one I hadn't touched in 4 years because Marcus said professional photographers were a dime a dozen, and I should focus on being his partner instead. I think, I said slowly, I'm going to remember who I was before I became Mrs. Marcus Walker. Aunt Julia smiled. That sounds like an excellent plan. Outside, the waves kept rolling in. The seagulls kept calling. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The awakening. Finding herself again. The first week in Seaside passed like a dream. Each morning, I woke up without an alarm clock. No schedule to follow. No charity events to attend. No business dinners to prepare for. Just the sound of waves and the smell of salt air. Aunt Julia's cottage was small but cozy. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen with yellow walls, and a living room filled with books and handmade quilts. Everything Marcus's penthouse was not. It felt like home. On my 3rd day there, I found my camera buried at the bottom of my suitcase. A Canon that Marcus had bought me for our first anniversary, back when he still remembered what I loved. I hadn't used it in 3 years. I took it out to the beach that afternoon. The Oregon coast in late autumn was beautiful in a wild, rough way. Dark rocks jutted from the sand. Foam sprayed high as waves crashed. The sky changed every few minutes from gray to blue to silver. I started taking pictures. At first, my hands felt clumsy, rusty, but slowly, something inside me woke up. I remembered how to see light, how to frame a moment, how to capture feeling instead of just objects. I photographed everything. The weathered fence posts, the beach grass bending in the wind, an old fishing boat pulled up on the sand, a child's forgotten bucket. Each click of the shutter felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. When I got back to the cottage, Aunt Julia was making soup. You look different, she observed. Your eyes are brighter. I looked at the photos on my camera screen. They were raw and real. Nothing like the perfect, staged images from my old life. I forgot how much I loved this, I admitted. You gave up a lot to be his wife, didn't you? I nodded. He said my photography was a nice hobby, but it wouldn't pay the bills. He said I should focus on supporting his career instead. And I listened. I actually listened. Aunt Julia stirred her soup thoughtfully. Some men can't handle a woman who shines as bright as they do. They need you dimmed down so they can feel bigger. Her words hit hard because they were true. Marcus had never directly told me to stop. He just made it clear that my dreams were small compared to his, that my art was cute compared to his empire. And slowly, I had made myself smaller and smaller until I almost disappeared. Not anymore, I said firmly. That night, I created an Instagram account. Not as Mrs. Marcus Walker, just as Sophia Chun, photographer. I posted 3 of my beach photos with a simple caption, "Finding my way back." Within an hour, I had 50 likes. Within a day, 200. People I didn't know were commenting, saying my work was beautiful, asking where I was located, wanting to see more. I had forgotten this feeling. Creating something and having people actually see it. Appreciate it. Connect with it. For the first time in years, I felt like a person instead of an accessory. Marcus's desperate search. Marcus stood in his home office, staring at 3 computer screens. His private investigator had found me quickly. Too quickly. Money could buy any information. He knew I was in Seaside, Oregon. He knew I was staying with Julia Chun. He even had photos of me taken from a distance, walking on the beach with my camera. In the photos, I looked peaceful. My hair was loose and windblown. I was wearing jeans and a simple sweater. No makeup, no jewelry, just me. He barely recognized me. When had I last looked this relaxed in San Francisco? He couldn't remember. His assistant, David, knocked on the door. "Mr. Walker, you have the board meeting in 10 minutes. Cancel it," Marcus said without looking away from the screen. "Sir, this is the quarterly review. The investors." I said cancel it. His voice was sharp. "Tell them I have a family emergency." David hesitated. "Is everything okay with Mrs. Walker?" Marcus finally turned around. He hadn't slept properly in a week. His eyes were bloodshot. His usually perfect appearance was messy. "No, David. Nothing is okay." After David left, Marcus picked up his phone. He had tried calling me from different numbers, but I never answered. He had sent emails, text messages, even tried contacting me through social media, but I had blocked him everywhere. He opened his messages and typed again. "Sophia, please talk to me. I made a terrible mistake. Rebecca is fine now. She's getting help. But I can't stop thinking about how I left you in the rain. I'm so sorry. Please come home. I love you." He pressed send, knowing it wouldn't be delivered. The message would sit in digital limbo, unread, just like all the others. His phone rang. It was his mother. "Marcus, darling, I heard Sophia left. Is this true?" News traveled fast in their social circle. Of course, everyone knew by now. "Yes, mother." "Well, bring her back. This is embarrassing for the family. What will people say?" Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. "Is that all you care about? What people will say? Don't be dramatic. Every couple has problems. You just need to buy her something nice and apologize. Maybe that vacation home she wanted in Napa. I don't think a vacation home is going to fix this." His mother sighed impatiently. "Marcus, you're a billionaire. You can fix anything with money. That's how the world works." After she hung up, Marcus sat in silence. His mother was wrong. Money couldn't fix this. He had been trying to fix everything with money for years. The forgotten anniversaries, the missed dinners, the constant choosing work over his wife. He had thought expensive gifts made up for his absence. He had thought a luxury lifestyle made up for his lack of attention. He had been so wrong. He looked at the photos of me again. In one, I was laughing at something. Actually laughing. He realized he hadn't heard me laugh in months. Maybe years. He made a decision. He would go to Oregon. He would face me, and he would do whatever it took to bring me back. Even if it meant finally being honest about why he had really rushed to Rebecca that night. The confrontation. I was sitting on the cottage porch, editing photos on my laptop, when the black SUV pulled up. My stomach dropped. I knew that car. I knew who was inside. Marcus stepped out, wearing jeans and a sweater. Not his usual business attire. He looked tired, vulnerable, human. Aunt Julia came out behind me, her presence like a protective shield. "Should I tell him to leave?" she asked quietly. Part of me wanted to say yes, but another part knew I needed this conversation. I needed closure. "No," I said. "I'll talk to him." Marcus walked up the path slowly, his hands in his pockets. When he reached the porch, he stopped. "Hi, Sophia." "Hi, Marcus." We stared at each other. A week apart, but it felt like years. I could see him taking in my appearance. The casual clothes, the lack of makeup, the camera around my neck. "You look good," he said softly. "Really good." "What do you want, Marcus?" "To talk. To explain. To He ran his hand through his hair, a gesture I knew meant he was nervous. To apologize properly. Aunt Julia squeezed my shoulder. I'll be inside if you need me. She gave Marcus a long, warning look before going in. I set my laptop aside and stood up. You came all this way to apologize? I came all this way because I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't focus on anything. You left, Sophia. You actually left. Yes, I did. Why? His voice cracked slightly. Was it really just about that one night? I took a deep breath. No, Marcus. It wasn't one night. It was 1,000 nights. It was every dinner you missed. Every promise you broke. Every time you chose work over me. Every time you made me feel like I was bothering you by existing. I was building an empire. You were building an empire, I interrupted, and I was disappearing. Do you know what it feels like to be married to someone who doesn't see you? Who doesn't remember what you love? Who treats you like a beautiful piece of furniture? Marcus stepped closer. That's not fair. I always provided for you. You had everything you wanted. Everything except you. The words burst out of me. I didn't want the penthouse or the designer clothes or the expensive vacations. I wanted my husband. I wanted the man who used to dance with me in our tiny apartment, who used to surprise me with picnics, who used to actually look at me when I talked. I did look at you. No, you didn't. You looked through me. At meetings you needed to attend. At deals you needed to close. At your phone. Always at your phone. Marcus was silent. His jaw worked as if he was chewing on words he couldn't say. And then there's Rebecca. I continued, my voice quieter now. You dropped everything for her. In the rain. On our anniversary. You left me standing there like I was nothing. She was going to hurt herself. And what about me, Marcus? I felt tears building, but I refused to let them fall. What about the fact that you were hurting me? Did that matter at all? The truth revealed. Marcus sat down heavily on the porch steps. He looked broken, defeated, nothing like the confident billionaire everyone knew. Can I tell you the truth? He asked quietly. The real truth. I sat down too, keeping distance between us. I'm listening. He stared out at the ocean for a long moment before speaking. Rebecca never took any pills. There was no suicide attempt. My breath caught. What? She called me crying, saying she was depressed and needed help. When I got there, she was fine, drinking wine, painting. She said she just needed someone to talk to, that she missed me. His voice was bitter. It was manipulation, and I fell for it. Why? Because. He struggled with the words. Because Rebecca represents a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. The struggling artist who lived in a bad apartment and created things for the love of it. Before the money. Before the pressure. Before I became this person I don't even recognize. I had never heard him talk like this. So honest. So raw. I thought going to her would make me feel like that person again. The Marcus who had dreams instead of obligations. The Marcus who created instead of acquired. He looked at me finally. But when I got there and realized she was fine, I felt so stupid. So angry. And by then, you were gone. You could have come back, I said. You could have met me at the restaurant. I know. But I was ashamed. I had chosen a fantasy over my reality. I had chosen my past over my present. And I didn't know how to face you. He rubbed his face with both hands. By the time I got home, you had already left. And I realized I had destroyed the only real thing in my life. The ocean waves crashed below us. Seagulls called overhead. The wind carried the smell of salt and pine. I'm sorry, Sophia. I'm so sorry. Not just for that night, but for the past 4 years. For making you small. For taking you for granted. For forgetting who you were because I was too busy becoming successful. I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness yet, but understanding. Do you know what the worst part is? I asked. I let you do it. I made myself small. I gave up my dreams. I became the perfect wife because I thought that's what you needed. I thought if I was perfect enough, you would finally see me. I do see you now. Now that I'm gone, I pointed out. Now that you lost control. That's not love, Marcus. That's ownership. Enter Daniel. A blue pickup truck pulled up to the cottage. A man stepped out, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing work clothes and carrying a toolbox. He had dark hair pulled back in a small ponytail and kind brown eyes. Hey, Sophia, he called out with a warm smile. I'm here to fix that window like Julia asked. I stood up. Oh, Daniel. Hi. Come on in. I felt Marcus tense beside me. I watched as he stood up, his posture straightening, his expression hardening into something territorial. Daniel walked up, still smiling, until he saw Marcus. His expression became cautious. Daniel, this is Marcus. Marcus. Marcus, this is Daniel. He owns the hardware store in town and helps Aunt Julia with repairs. The two men shook hands. It was not friendly. Nice to meet you, Daniel said politely. Julia mentioned you were visiting, Sophia. How long are you staying? I'm not sure yet, I replied honestly. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find me. He gave me another warm smile, nodded coolly at Marcus, and went inside to find Aunt Julia. The moment Daniel was out of earshot, Marcus turned to me. Who is he? I told you. He owns the hardware store. That's not what I mean. How do you know him? I met him at the grocery store last week. He helped me carry boxes. We talked. He's nice. Marcus's jaw clenched. Nice. Yes, Marcus. Nice. Kind. Friendly. Normal human qualities. You've been here a week and you already have some local guy fixing things for you? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you serious right now? You're jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm concerned. You're jealous, I repeated. You left me for your ex-girlfriend, but I can't even have a conversation with a handyman. That's different. How? How is it different? Marcus struggled for an answer. Finally, he said, because you're my wife. Am I? I challenged. Am I really? Because for the past 4 years, I've been your employee, your social coordinator, your image consultant. But your wife? When was the last time you treated me like your wife? Marcus had no answer. Daniel came back out, gave me a friendly wave, and drove away in his truck. I watched Marcus watch him leave, his hands clenched into fists. I need to get back to San Francisco, Marcus said tightly. I have meetings tomorrow that I can't miss. Of course you do. But I'll be back this weekend. We need to talk more. We need to figure this out. Maybe there's nothing to figure out, I said quietly. Don't say that. His voice was almost desperate. Please don't say that. The manipulation continues. After Marcus left, I felt exhausted, drained. The conversation had opened old wounds. Aunt Julia made us tea, and we sat at the kitchen table. That man is used to getting what he wants, she observed. Always has been, I agreed. The question is, what do you want? I thought about that. A week ago, I would have said divorce, freedom, escape. But after today's conversation, after seeing Marcus vulnerable and honest for the first time in years, I wasn't sure anymore. I don't know, I admitted. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi, Sophia, this is Rebecca. I got your number from Marcus's phone. I wanted to apologize for causing problems in your marriage. I was in a dark place and I shouldn't have called him that night. I hope you two can work things out. You're very lucky to have him. I stared at the message in disbelief. Then I showed it to Aunt Julia. That's bold, she said, apologizing while also reminding you that she has access to your husband. I didn't respond to Rebecca. Instead, I blocked her number too. But the damage was done. The message wormed its way into my brain. How often did Marcus and Rebecca talk? Did he visit her after seeing me? Was she really getting help? Or was she still pulling him into her chaos? The next morning, I received an email from Marcus's lawyer. The subject line read, regarding marital assets and residence. My heart sank as I opened it. The email was professional and cold, explaining that if I wanted to pursue divorce, we needed to discuss property division. It mentioned the penthouse, the vacation homes, the shared accounts, the investments. It reminded me that while I had come into the marriage with $17,000, Marcus had built a billion-dollar empire. It suggested I might want to reconsider my decision. It was a threat wrapped in legal language. I called the number at the bottom of the email. Davis and Associates, a crisp voice answered. This is Sophia Walker. I just received an email from your office. Ah, yes, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Walker asked us to begin preliminary divorce proceedings in case you decided to move forward. We just wanted to make sure you understood the implications. I understand perfectly, I said. Tell Marcus that I don't want his money. I don't want his properties. I want a clean break. That's all. Mrs. Walker, I would advise you to reconsider. I don't need your advice. Send me the papers. I'll sign them. I hung up before the lawyer could respond. Aunt Julia looked at me with concern. Sweetie, you should have a lawyer too. Don't let them bully you. I don't want to fight over money. That's exactly what he expects. He thinks I'll come back because I can't survive without his wealth. I felt angry now. Determined. I'll show him I can. That afternoon, I drove into town and went to Daniel's hardware store. It was a charming old building with wooden floors and walls lined with tools, paint, and supplies. Daniel looked up from the counter when I walked in. His face brightened. "Sophia, what brings you in?" "I need your help," I said. "I want to start a business." His eyebrows raised. "What kind of business?" "Photography. I want to rent a small space in town. Set up a studio. Take portraits, wedding photos, landscapes. Whatever people need." The words spilled out of me. "I know it's crazy. I haven't worked in years. I don't have much money saved. But I need to do this. I need to prove I can build something of my own." Daniel smiled. "It's not crazy at all. Actually, the space above my store is empty. Used to be an apartment. It has great light. You could use it as a studio." "Really? How much is the rent? How about we work out a trade? You take some professional photos of my store for my website, and you can use the space free for 3 months. That gives you time to get clients and start making money." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Daniel, that's too generous." "Not at all. This town needs a good photographer. Plus, I have a feeling you're going to be amazing." We shook hands. Then, impulsively, I hugged him. "Thank you," I whispered. "You have no idea what this means to me." "Everyone deserves a second chance," he said kindly. As I drove back to the cottage, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope, excitement, purpose. I was building a life of my own. Not as Marcus Walker's wife, but as Sophia Chun, photographer, survivor, and woman who was finally finding her way back to herself. Marcus thought he could control me with lawyers and money and fear. But he was wrong. I wasn't coming back. The ultimate revenge. The trap is set. 2 months passed like a beautiful, healing dream. My photography studio above Daniel's hardware store was now fully operational. Word had spread quickly through Seaside about the new photographer in town. I had bookings for family portraits, senior photos, and even 2 weddings scheduled for spring. The space was perfect. Large windows flooded the room with natural light. I had painted the walls a soft cream color and hung some of my best landscape photos. A vintage couch sat in one corner for clients. My camera equipment was organized on shelves Daniel had built for me. Every morning, I woke up excited about my day. Every night, I fell asleep satisfied with what I had accomplished. I was making my own money, building my own reputation, creating my own future. And I hadn't spoken to Marcus in 8 weeks. He had tried everything. More phone calls from different numbers. Emails. Letters delivered by courier. He sent flowers that I donated to the local hospital. He sent jewelry that I returned. He even sent a message through his mother, begging me to at least respond. I ignored it all. But I knew Marcus Walker. I knew he wouldn't give up that easily. Men like him didn't accept defeat. They doubled down. They changed tactics. I was right. One Tuesday afternoon, Daniel came upstairs to the studio looking worried. He was holding an envelope. "This was just delivered by some fancy courier service," he said. "For you." I opened it. Inside was an invitation printed on thick, expensive cardstock. Tech Vision Annual Gala. San Francisco, December 15th. A celebration of innovation and achievement. Guest of honor, Marcus Walker. There was a handwritten note attached in Marcus's distinctive handwriting. "Sophia, I'm receiving the Tech Innovator of the Year award. This is the biggest night of my career. I know things are difficult between us, but I'm asking you to please be there. Not as my wife, just as someone who was once important to me. Please. M." Daniel watched my face carefully. "You going to go?" I stared at the invitation. Part of me wanted to tear it up and throw it away. But another part of me was curious. What was Marcus really planning? "I don't know," I said honestly. That night, I showed the invitation to Aunt Julia over dinner. "It's a trap," she said immediately. "He's going to use that event to win you back in front of everyone. Make some big public gesture. Put pressure on you." "Maybe," I agreed. "Or maybe he genuinely just wants me there for support." Aunt Julia gave me a knowing look. "And what do you want?" I thought about that question for a long time. What did I want? I wanted closure. Real closure. Not this limbo where we were still technically married, but living completely separate lives. I wanted to face Marcus one last time on my terms, not his. And maybe, just maybe, I wanted him to see what he had lost. "I want to go," I said finally. But not as his wife. As myself. Aunt Julia smiled slowly. "Then let's make sure you look absolutely unforgettable." Playing along. I called Marcus the next day. He answered on the first ring. "Sophia?" His voice was breathless, hopeful. "I got your invitation," I said calmly. Silence. Then, are you coming? Yes. I heard him exhale. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll send a car. No, I interrupted. I'll arrange my own transportation. I'll meet you there. Okay. Okay, whatever you want. He sounded like he was trying not to push his luck. Will you sit with me? At my table. I'll think about it. Sophia, I have to go, Marcus. I have a client coming in 5 minutes. A client? For my photography business. I'm a working photographer now. Another silence. Then, quietly, I'm proud of you. Those words hit me harder than I expected. When was the last time Marcus had said he was proud of me? I'll see you at the gala, I said, and hung up before my emotions could betray me. The next 2 weeks were a blur of activity. Aunt Julia and I drove to Portland for a shopping trip. I didn't want to wear anything Marcus had bought me. This dress needed to be mine. We found it in a small boutique. A deep emerald green silk gown that hugged my curves and flowed like water. It was elegant, but not showy. Sophisticated, but not cold. Exactly what I wanted. I also got my hair cut. Not the long, conventional style Marcus had always preferred. I went for a shoulder-length bob with subtle layers. Modern. Fresh. Me. Daniel noticed the change immediately when I came back. Wow, he said, looking up from his paperwork. You look amazing. I blushed. Over the past 2 months, Daniel and I had become close friends. He was easy to talk to. Funny. Kind. He never pushed for more than I was willing to give, but I could see the way he looked at me sometimes. The way his smile changed when I walked into a room. Thanks, I said. I needed a change. This is about that gala, isn't it? His smile faded slightly. You're going back to him. No, I said firmly. I'm going to get closure. There's a difference. Be careful, Sophia. Men like that don't let go easily. I know, but I'm not the same woman who left San Francisco 2 months ago. He's going to learn that. The morning I was supposed to fly out, Daniel drove me to the Portland airport. We sat in his truck in the parking lot, neither of us quite ready to say goodbye. I'm going to miss having you upstairs, he said, trying to keep his tone light. I'll only be gone 3 days.